Oh, hello. Excuse me. I didn't even see you there. Let me just... Hello. Hi there. So, welcome to Books in the Woods, the only invisible bookshop in the area. Now, sorry I didn't see you there before. I really didn't expect to see anyone at this late hour. But please, come on in. Feel free to look around, whatever you please. If you need anything, please just let me know. That's what I'm here for. So, are you looking for anything in particular? You don't know. You just saw the sign outside. You thought you'd check out the bookshop. Sure. We get a lot of those customers in here. Well, that is exactly why I'm here. I'm here to guide you on your journey. You know, the journey that you did not know you were on. But I guess we're all on a journey in this life of ours without even knowing it. Without even knowing what kind of journey we are on. Without knowing where this journey will take us. Now, yeah, that makes me think, really makes me think about nothing. You know? Nothing, just nothing. I spent a lot of time in here thinking about nothing. You do too? Yeah. I guess humankind is doomed to spend a lot of time thinking about nothing. But then we're lucky that we have books all around us, written from the dawn of man until today, about that very same topic, about nothing, about the unseen and the invisible. In fact, you said you didn't really know what you were looking for. Let me make a suggestion. I'm gonna start you off with a real classic. Okay, just a moment. Let me just. Let me see. Oh, sure. Here we go. Now. I guess you know this one. It's Shakespeare. So, even if you don't know the title, you're bound to know the author. You don't know it? No. Well, it's one of his lesser-known plays. Actually, a comedy rather than a tragedy. Much Ado About Nothing. It's really a fitting title for for the bookshop. I mean, that's why we have it here. It's actually a collection of his plays. The book is titled after this play, Much Ado About Nothing. Like I said, one of his comedies from around 1598, 99. No one really knows, with any of Shakespeare's plays. No one really knows when they were written or published or, well, indeed performed on stage. No one really knows, but still, we have them now. I mean, that's pretty amazing. That's almost 500 years ago that this play was originally written and performed by human beings in London. I mean, it's pretty pretty amazing if you think about it. Much ado about nothing. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. It's about these two young couples. That's one of them are in love with each other, but kind of don't want to admit it, and the other ones don't love each other, but then they do love each other, and they don't, and then they do. All these romantic entanglements. It's like a romantic comedy from Shakespeare's age. Yeah. Yeah. No, he really was a master of the comedy, not just the tragedy. I mean, everyone knows Hamlet and King Lear, Henry VIII. Was that a Shakespeare play? Well, I forget. Anyway, everyone knows the classics, but he also wrote comedies, light-hearted pieces like this one. And the comedies as well tell us about the human condition of today. It's not all blood and sadness and existential dread, suicide, to be or not to be, whether 'tis nobler to suffer in the mind the slings and arrows of outrageous misfortune. No, it can also be about love, and about the fear of not being loved, the fear of love not being returned. Not being loved and kind when you love someone, and about meddling in your friend's love life. Also that. Okay, you don't. Is it a bit too old for you? You prefer something newer? Sure. I understand that. A lot of people are like that. I mean, I understand really Shakespeare he's not the easiest author to get into. I mean, this is not a revised version. It's not a first edition, of course. I don't know if those even exist anymore outside of national museums and such. No, it's a reprint. I don't know. It's pretty old, but well, I'll put it back. We'll find something else for you. Shakespeare. Here you go. Okay. So you say you want something newer. So are you looking for, well, I don't know, realism or surrealism or fantasy or sci-fi, or you read all kinds of books? Well, we've got all kinds of books. Tell you what, let me recommend something else for you. Quite new. It's a book from 2000s, I think. I don't know, 10 years old or something. Just a moment. Let's see. It's up here. Here we go. There. Now, this one is Invisible. That's the title, as you can see, by Paul Auster. It's from, let's see, there, 2009, by Paul Auster, Invisible. Yeah. No, it's actually the only book I have of Auster's. Yeah, well, I don't know why. That's just the way it is. But this one, it's got, it's got all the classic elements of an Auster novel. It's got a young, struggling American student slash poet. It's got a mysterious Frenchman. It's got a girl. It's got love. It's set in New York. What else do you need to know about an Auster novel? I mean, all the way back to the New York trilogy, he explored those kinds of themes. Really, really played with realism and fiction, the boundaries of fiction and narrators, really blurring the line between fact and fiction and between reality and invention. I mean, his books are really quite remarkable in that respect, I find, at least. I mean, some people think he treads water, muddles around on the same subjects over and over again. And he does, kind of, I guess. But, he does it with such eloquence that you just want to keep on reading. No matter what, you just want to keep turning the pages. Yeah, just want to keep turning the pages. Real page turner. Well, I don't really know if you could call it that. I guess if you're into sort of that thing. I mean, it's not a page turner like your modern day suspense horror authors like Dean Koontz. I mean, I think I have like Watchers in here. I have Eyes of Darkness. No? And you don't want the Auster book as well? No. That's fine. It's fine, I'll put it back. I'll find something else for you, don't worry. In fact, I'll just put it down here. And we can return them all. If you change your mind, we'll return them, but I'll just put it down here, if you want it after all. Okay. So, that didn't quite cut it for you. But you're not, wasn't a total miss. I think we'll try something else. Yeah, I think this one might be under C. Here, down. No, it's up there. It's up there. Here. There we go. Now, this one. Invisible Cities. By Italo Calvino. He's an Italian author. Yeah. Really, really, really interesting. I mean, again, it's sort of along the same lines of fact and fiction and playing with the literary form. This one is a fictitious narrative or chronicle about a series of invisible cities discovered by Marco Polo and told to Kublai Khan, the emperor. Really great musings on, well, really everything, everything from, from the building of cities, of course, and states and societies, language, really lots of fascinating ideas in here, and in Calvino in general. I think this one is from the 1970s. possibly 60s. I mean, that's the period that he wrote in. So I'm not 100% sure on that. Okay. Yeah. This is, in my view, Calvino is much more humorous than Paul Auster. He can be a bit too serious, self-indulgent maybe. Calvino has this touch of humanity. Always, it's like he speaks directly to you in like a human man-to-man tongue, or language, or text, words. I do find it really interesting, this concept of boundaries, of what is inside the book and what is outside of it. The French literary theorist Janne, he had this concept, or paratexts, called it, that are the written and unwritten entrances and exits from a book. You might say the liminal devices around the book, meaning the title, the cover illustration, the back copy. Spine, the name on the spine, even the pages themselves. Try and listen to this. Can you hear it? Even the pages themselves imply something about the book. They color our interpretation, our reading of the book. Quality of the paper. Is it rough? Is it smooth? Is it gritty, grainy, or pulpy? What font are the words, the sentences printed in? What is the size? And do the author's name figure on top, as it does here, Italo Calvino? Does the page numbers figure at the bottom, as they also does here? That's why I love invisible books so much. They are free of these paratexts that make us come to books, pick up books, read books with certain expectations in mind, preconceived notions of the book, you might say. With invisible books, there are no such expectations, no such liminal devices. Excuse me. It's been a while since I've studied these things. I think about it a lot, though. Yeah. In the invisible world, we are all free to read as we please. I think that's a remarkable thing. That's why I started this bookshop. you don't think that sounds like something you'd enjoy. Okay, I'll put it down, on top of the Auster books book. There we go. Okay, so that didn't quite cut it, but I get the sense that you're not totally turned off by the idea of a foreign author. Let me get something for you, mostly just for fun, but I want to show you this. It's called, let me get it. It's called The Story of the Eye, Histoire de l'œil, by Georges Bataille. Now, this is really a mad book, simply a mad book. There is really, there is no other way to put it. Look at it. Look at it. Obviously, yeah. Well, anyway, I think it's marvelous. It's French, published in 20s or 30s. Let me just check that. Yeah, 1928, first edition. And this particular one was published in the 50s, translation. Now, Story of the Eye. Yeah, my eyes don't work the way they used to, but thankfully they're not completely gone yet. Now, I fear someday they may well be, but at least I'll still have my books to read. I don't need eyes for those. Now, Story of the Eye. I guess you can't really read this book if you don't know something about Georges Bataille. He was a French philosopher, author, very active in the French surrealist movement in the 1920s and 30s, and really a character, I guess you could say. This book is a character as well. It's bloody, it's gory, it's philosophical, it's surrealists like you wouldn't believe. It's also unimaginably gross, really, to put it bluntly. That's what it is. Can't escape that. But it also helped form a really, really interesting movement in literature. Gave way to really just superior imaginative works in the history of literature. I think that's remarkable. Transgressive is what it is, this book. Transgressive. Yeah. Okay, but you think that's too much? Yeah, probably is. I love it to bits. I can't get enough of it, really, even though I wouldn't really want to admit that outside of these walls, but this book is just, it's magnificent. Well, anyway, okay. We'll put it aside for now. Just put it down here. Okay, so let's see, you didn't want Shakespeare, probably the best author in the history of the world. No, Shakespeare. You didn't want Auster. You didn't want Calvino, you didn't want Bataille. Let me make one more try for someone you definitely have not heard of, a foreigner. It's all, let's see, it's down here. One moment. Here we go. This book is simply called Nothing by Jane Teller. Now, it's a bit on the lighter side. It's a, well, I was going to say modern book. I don't actually remember when it was published, in the 90s, I think. It's called, well, like I said, Nothing. It's sort of a, well, I was going to say children's book. I mean, many people read it as children or young people. It's not really your typical young adult novel at all. It's about a group of school children. And one of them, one day, he decides that life is basically meaningless. And so, why do anything at all? And that's the idea. So he climbs up this apple tree or whatever, plum tree, and he just sits around doing nothing all day while the other kids, they go to school, do regular kid stuff. And he just sits around doing nothing and really berating them for living life when there really is no meaning to life. From the day we're born, let me just find that quote. There we go. From the day we're born, we all start to die. Well, so I guess you can spot the nihilistic tendencies of the boy here. And really, the other kids go on this mission to disprove the idea that life is meaningless and that everything is nothing. And they do that by compiling a tall pile of stuff that means a lot to them. A pile of meaning, they call it. In the beginning, it's innocent stuff, but it quickly escalates so that the things they have to give up to the pile become more and more meaningful, more and more important to them. And has kind of a horrible ending, like gruesome, not bad, but gruesome. Yeah. I really think this is a good book. It treats these topics in a manner different from your classic philosophers or surrealists or highbrow authors. I mean, this book you can really pick up and read quite quickly. Okay. So, you think maybe this one? Maybe this one. Okay, good. I'll put it over here in the maybe pile. There. Now, yeah, I know this. It really is an amazing shop. I mean, I can't believe I get to work here. I get to go to work here every day. I mean, I sleep out back. So really, it's my home. Being around all these books, it's magnificent. It really gives me a sense of being around other people, being surrounded by human history, even when there's no one here, which is most of the time, if I'm being totally honest. But being around all these books really makes me feel less lonely, and I really appreciate that. I mean, it's pretty easy to feel lonely in these days. This world we're living in, very, very easy to feel lonely, isolated, I guess, cut off from other people. But among books, you're never really alone, and you're certainly not cut off from anyone. You have this deep, deep personal bond with people hundreds of years ago, and people of the present day, people living, they could be your next door neighbors, or they could be living on the other side of the globe, and you have this intimate look inside of their minds. I think that is so remarkable. Really is the best cure for loneliness, I think. Okay. Oh, that was getting a bit too deep for you. You know what? You're right. Let me find something modern, something a bit more, something short. Let's find something short. I'll just grab something short, like be a. Oh, here we go. This one, Ballingrud, Nathan Ballingrud. It's so dirty. I feel like okay. Probably not gonna sell you this. Anyway, The Visible Filth is what it's called. It's really, it's a horror novel if you're into that sort of thing, and it's one of the most impactful I read personally in a long time. Definitely one of the most impactful. I mean, a lot of horror doesn't really get to the heart of horror. I think it's all blood and gore and guts and meaningless violence. This one really gets to the heart of something. It's about this bartender who finds a cell phone in his bar. It's been abandoned there one day, and picks it up intending to return it to the owner, but suddenly he starts receiving these weird and very disturbing messages and pictures and calls from the phone, and his life really starts to unravel. So short a book, so impactful. Edgar Allan Poe used to talk about the unity of effect, meaning that a work of fiction must be able to be read in a single sitting to preserve the unity of effect, which is horror in this case, disgust, and disassociation from reality. I don't know really how to put it in words. Well, wanted to say is you can read this in one sitting and it'll scare the pants off of you. That's your thing? Okay, put it in the maybe pile. You know what? If that's your thing, let me just, I know it's getting so late. It's getting so late. I mean, I have to go to bed soon as well. I'll get you one other book. Yeah. That is, let's see. I think I'll actually have to, excuse me. Take a look up here. Oh, okay. Oh, I really don't get up here as often as I should. So dusty. So dusty. All the books up here. Well, what I wanted was really all the way over here. All the way over here. There we go. There we go. H.G. Wells. A real classic. The Invisible Man. Not Invisible Man, that's another novel. This is called The Invisible Man. It's about a man that turns invisible. I guess you can kind of tell that from the title, maybe. Really, this is one of the genre-defining science fiction novels of modern day. It's not really modern, but, you know, speaking of, if we're talking about centuries, if we're talking about, you know, the history of literature, it's from 1897, I want to say. Like I said, one of the genre-defining, one of the first real science fiction, modern science fiction works that we have. I mean, H.G. Wells, he wrote The Time Machine, The War of the Worlds, really all these great imaginative works. Yeah. And also, yeah, this really speaks to a lot of, you know, really central, innate thoughts of humankind. I don't know what I was going to say there. Really speaks to me. I mean, I think a lot about being invisible, don't you? I think we probably all do. You know, I mean, all these books are invisible, so why shouldn't I be able to be invisible too? I mean, of course, here in the book, the scientist, I mean, he finds a way to turn himself invisible, but then he can't turn back into being visible again. So it's quite a conundrum for him, quite a predicament. And, you know, of course, there's been modern movie adaptations, Hollow Man, The Invisible Man, that really exploit the horror and exploitation aspects of being invisible and all the possibilities that gives a man with urges, desires, and no responsibility for society, since there's no one to hold him accountable. Yeah. Yeah. It really is. Yeah. It's a good read. It's a good read. You know what? I'll put it in your maybe pile over there. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I think this is, it's probably getting late. I've been rambling on about invisible books, like, I don't know how long. I mean, I really should get some sleep. I mean, I don't know. Jesus, it's time. Wow, time really flies, huh? Time really flies when you're in such good company as yourself and all these books. Not the least, the books. Just kidding. Well, anyway, so would you want to leave with any of the books? You want to buy them? You do? No. Okay. You don't want any invisible books today. I mean, you've got 3 over here in your maybe pile. I can maybe do like a 3 for the price of 2 books, or 3 for the price of 1. I mean that's bargain. That's a bargain. You're not gonna get a bargain like that in anywhere in town, I don't think. No? Oh, okay. Well, even so, I wish you a pleasant night. You know what? One thing, I want to share something with you. I know I've shared a lot, but there's something I think about. I mean, I'm quite of an aspiring novelist myself. I like to fancy I could have written a book that could go up here on these invisible shelves. And the famous author Vladimir Nabokov. You know what he wrote? I don't have it here, but I used to. It's called Transparent Things. Very famous book. He wrote, about speaking about his writing process and such. He wrote, "The pages are still blank, but there's a miraculous feeling of the words being there, written in invisible ink, clamoring to become visible." Yeah, clamoring to become visible. Isn't that the way we all feel